Hello, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop, our first in January of a new year, 2018. So, welcome episode 66, of course. It's January 13th. About last week, I ended up being the one unable to join. Of course, it was another week of not here. But guess what? We're all here.
I'm back.
Joe's back.
He's not dead.
He didn't die. He's back in pod form. Yes. Are you our
Yes.
Alf? Okay.
I'm a giant Alf though, because Alf was short.
Accurate. You're our Chewbacca. It's not like you're drowning.
I'm doing good, Wookie.
There we go.
Yes. Anyway.
Direction I was.
Yeah, I know it has to be mirrored, so it's like, God, I have to remember it. Anyway, today we have a pretty full docket of things, because I am combining last week's news with this week's news, so I picked all the interesting stuff. That's what you can think of. Anyway, we're gonna talk a little bit about Ixalan, because the card image gallery came out, some of it, and we know what the mechanics are. So me and Joe will talk about that for a bit. We're gonna talk about the Corporation RPG, which is bringing back some classic 80s cyberpunk feel, with a little bit of actual, corporate apocalypse, I guess you can call it, where corporations take over. Sakura Arms is an interesting imported board game. Apparently it was originally in Japan, and a company has translated and brought it over to us. 3 subclasses is the new unearthed arcana in Dungeons & Dragons. We'll talk about these new subclasses and what we think about them. Modifius has released a bunch of new quick start rules for a bunch of their RPGs, so we'll talk about that because they just decided to share a whole bunch more with us, which is great, but it was sudden. And then Bloodbound, a new board game by Fantasy Flight that's about being vampire clans. And all right, why don't we dive, of course, into the Magic the Gathering with the Rivals of Ixalan. So Joe, have you had a chance to look over the spoilers as they've had it now?
Not much of all. I'm trying to at the moment.
Okay.
So I know it's going to be more dinosaurs, vampires, pirates, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same things, but we only have one new ability. It looks like we're returning all the abilities we had before: Explore, Raid, Enrage. The new ability is Ascend, which is if you control 10 or more permanents, you get City's Blessing for the rest of the game.
Okay, and what does the blessing give you?
Certain creatures get bonuses for having the blessing. Like, one of them, if you have the blessing, it has flying. Another one, if it gets +3/+0, as long as you have the blessing. Things get stuff if you have the blessing, but you have to earn the blessing. Now, it doesn't say not everyone can get the blessing, so I guess everybody could get the blessing, technically. But it's not something you get right at the beginning of the game.
Gotcha.
So it's an interesting, longer-term mechanic, I think. The big things that I've seen that I did want to kind of point out is they do have things like the 5 rare colored dinosaurs. Basically, like the primal, like the white one has a primal dawn. They each have like a primal dinosaur. That's pretty powerful. Primal Tide for blue, with some interesting abilities. The primal dawn, when it's flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible.
Yeah.
The blue one can't be countered. You have no maximum hand sides. Your opponents can't cast if your opponents cast a non-creature spell, you draw a card, and you can discard 3 cards to exile and return it tapped under the beginning of your next end step to basically, I guess, to save it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there's a kite pirate.
Yeah, there's a kite pirate. I mean, there's some interesting things in here in general, I would say.
There's an artifact, Captain's Hook.
There's another horse, which, if you remember from the last block, there was like a horse that made horse tribal actually something you could think about, and so they put another one in here. I'm like,
because a horse is a horse.
Damn it, you got to it.
Damn. Haha.
They also have a chupacabra, which we can give
some the cards.
We can
Build
give
Death Spitter.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just having flashbacks to like being level 1 in Ark Survival Evolved, and just like, no, Dilo, no.
There's only one use for a chupacabra, And that's to make a gift to an evil jerk.
He wasn't that much of a jerk. We were the jerks to give it as a gift.
To us, he was a jerk.
I mean, he was a relative.
He was your relative.
I know.
That puts him in the jerkish area. Sorry.
Okay, that's probably accurate.
Considering your character.
Accurate. Yeah, I'll give you that one. We do see the one planeswalker, and I don't think it's in the normal...
There's several legendary planeswalkers I'm seeing.
Well, there's one that's actually... Oh yeah, there's two in the actual set, but I think they're doing like for something or other. I did see they're doing another version of Vraska. I think it's for the planeswalkers deck.
Vraska's Scheming Gorgon.
Yeah.
Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn for 2 tick up. -3 to destroy target creature, and -10 until end of turn. Creatures you control gain Death Touch, and whenever a creature deals damage to an opponent, that player loses the game.
Okay. There's apparently a Minotaur planeswalker.
That's a Minotaur. Yeah, that's a legendary too. Go ahead, sorry.
The one that's not in the Planeswalker deck, because you might be seeing the Planeswalker deck ones. I'm not sure.
Oh, that is the Planeswalker deck ones on the bottom there. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. No, that's fine. Those are ones that are ones to think about too. Anyway, but the normal one, I mean, it's interesting. It ticks up, discard a card. Each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. That's great. It ticks down 3 to steal something until end of turn. And then it has to be sacrificed, and to tick down 8, opponents lose life equal to number of cards in their graveyard. Okay, it's powerful. The other one...
And then there's Haltley.
Haltley, yeah.
Radiant Champion.
Oh my god, she's
It starts with 3.
Tick up 1. Put a loyalty counter for each creature you control.
Tick down 1. Target creature gets +X into end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Ouch. And tick down 8, you get an emblem. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card.
The thing about her is she is not super powerful with her abilities, because the enters the battlefield, draw a card. There's a lot of creatures that do that.
No. The -1 to get +X to end of turn is powerful.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she only starts with 3.
But she can easily get loyalty counters.
Right, but I'm just saying it only has a tick up of 1, so to build it up before someone tries to kill it.
Tick up 1. Put a loyalty counter for each creature you control.
Oh, shite. Okay, never mind.
The thing is, her 2 abilities, the +X is cool for a creature, but again, there's like stuff that does that, and that's until end of turn. Both of her abilities are good, and you can't really repeat emblems. So you get the emblem once, and it's just like, what? I'm going to be using her to make 1 big creature a turn, which is cool, but she's very easy to get her abilities off, I think is the interesting part of her.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely some very... the ridiculous elder the 3-headed dinosaur that's multicolored. I don't know why it's got 3 heads, because it's, I guess,
why not?
It's a primal calamity.
Actually, there's another 3-headed one too, called the Silverclad Ferociodons.
Okay, what color is it?
Oh wait, never mind. It's red, but maybe it's not 3-headed. It just looks like that. The angle I'm looking at it. No, I think it's multiple creatures on the card.
Oh, yeah, it's multiple ones, but still.
It looked almost like a 3-headed creature the way they had them together there.
It's still, like, there's some really ridiculous, like, I guess leaders of tribes, you can call them. I mean, like there's the merfolk and the vampire one, and there's a sphinx too, which is always nice. Azur's familiar as a name.
Yeah, the primal calamity is weird, and it's an elder dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird.
Would you prefer a jungle creeper?
Oh!
What?
Azur used to be a planeswalker. And he was the one that founded the Azorius Senate in Ravnica.
Okay.
Apparently, former Planeswalker Azor. All right then. I knew that name was familiar, and I was like, I didn't know Azor was a Planeswalker. It's like in the Ravnica storyline, it's like a critical character.
Ah.
It's the one that created the guild pack.
The Primal Calamity, I think, is interesting. It is a tricolor card, and each head basically has a different ability.
Yeah. Damage a creature, destroy artifact or enchantment, or gain some life. I think that's really good. And if you enters the battlefield and you cast it, you untap all lands. So for 9 mana, you get all your lands back.
Oh god, yes.
I mean, if you had a lot of mana and you just did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
No, there's something that caught my eye that's a little more, if I can find it, because I did more flip cards that go to lands, and a lot of them have lands abilities. There's one of them that stood out for me. Storm the Vault, because it flips over and it's Tolarian Academy. Tap, add 1 blue mana for each artifact you control. They already did Gaia's Cradle in this version. Now they're doing Tolarian Academy.
Mm.
We have a Poirier in chat.
Oh no.
So, oh god, Azur's Gateway. If you can flip it, add X mana of any one color to your mana pool where X is your life total. Man, there's some ridiculous stuff in here.
Captain's Hook is just weird.
Yeah.
You get +2/+0 menace.
And it's a pirate.
It is a pirate in addition to other types, but if for some reason it comes unattached, the creature dies.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's because it's sort of like you gamble on this creature getting a lot of stuff, and if it gets unattached, it dies. The Immortal Sun's pretty powerful too. Players can't activate Planeswalker abilities or loyalty abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, you draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and creatures you control get +1/+1. So you sacrifice Planeswalkers to get extra cards, cheaper spells, bigger creatures.
Did you see Azor's Gateway?
Yeah, the Azor's Gateway.
Legendary artifact that turns into the legendary land?
The one I was talking about that taps for X, where X mana is your life total.
Oh.
God. Yeah, in a life gain deck, how much mana could you produce for something ridiculous?
Too much.
Huh.
Now it's tricky to get because you have to draw a card, exile a card from hand. If a card with 5 or more different converted mana, if cards with 5 or more different converted mana costs were exiled with Azor, you gain 5 life, untap it, and transform it. So effectively, you have to exile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana costs. Maybe replace them with some 6, 7s, 8s. You know, it's so tricky to get, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it's worth it though.
Mm-hmm. There's some interesting stuff in amongst all of these. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to work with the stuff we already have.
I'm a little curious. I've noticed a couple cards say something about City's Blessing. What is that?
Okay. Hi, I'm Funny One. It's a new ability, apparently, that things that have the City's Blessing, you have something called Ascend. If a creature with Ascend out is in play, I think you can get the City's Blessing. And only if you have a creature with Ascend. And if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. It's like a token that cannot be targeted. Because I've heard this argument before. Planeswalker emblems are something people kind of hate a little bit because you can't get rid of them. I think the City's Blessing is going to be the same. It's going to be you can't get rid of it. You just have
you're
it.
Blessed.
Yeah, you're blessed. Congratulations. And then anything with the blessing then, gets triggered by it. Forever. Which there are some pretty good things to have the blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was just curious about that.
It's an interesting mechanic, and I don't know how popular it's going to be overall.
Ooh, Slippery Scoundrel. If you have City's Blessing, it becomes unblockable and hexproof.
Interesting. No, there's definitely some interesting cards here, and I would like to see how the rest of the set goes, because I guess it's a couple of weeks before it comes out properly. Yeah, so there's probably going to be some more spoilers, so we might talk about it once the pre-release has happened, and maybe we can grab someone to help us talk about the pre-release. So, why don't we move on, though, because there's plenty of interesting cards and stuff here. Like Radiant Destiny, where, you know, you grant creature types +1/+1 in vigilance if you have City's Blessing. Anyway, you know. Why don't we move on to talk about the Corporation RPG? Because that's one that came out. You can download the core rules for free. That's always good, you know. You can get an RPG drive-through RPG.
You can also do it on their site.
Mm-hmm.
Corpgame.com.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be set in 2500, so way in the future. We're talking like nearly 500 years in the future. Thank you, Joe. And nations and the world cease, and the idea of like nations and states has kind of gone away, and it's corporate domination around the world. And there's 5 monolithic corporations are the new world's power. 1 billion of lives are sold like property between the companies that employ them. Your tools of war and politics. And it's a time of agents. The eyes, hands, and sometimes knights to corporations. Individual elements to new physical and mental potential. And you're recruited as an agent, basically. And ordered outside any remaining semblance of law, and augmented beyond what you were once considered human. So you have to kind of negotiate, bargain, spy, sabotage, kill, and perhaps even die in the service of your corporation. And you get rewards as long as you live. Congratulations, you probably won't.
I don't get rewards if I die?
No.
And I kind of like this, I found a little article that mentions kind of like what's, like kind of stuff that's in this setting. Cybernetics, psionics, faster than light travel, man-made planets, alien technology, artificial intelligences, mecha?
Probably mecha, like mechs. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Genetically constructed creatures, massive tower cities, planetary colonies, death sports, and droids.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it, because it's as I just said in chat, Shadowrun to the 10th power, because it's supposed to be like Shadowrun's taking place like 2070s. So technology, yeah, we can see how quickly technology accelerates for ourselves. You know, 20 years ago, technology was so different than it is now. You know, cell phones were something that was very rare. You know, we didn't have like the internet like we do now. And evolution of technology has been great. We're talking 500 years now. And corporations don't have morals. So some of the stuff that was holding back some of our own technology...
I think you meant morals.
Morals. Sorry, morals. I said morals?
Yes.
Morals. Sorry. Wow.
They don't have any morale.
They have no morale.
They're all really lazy and unmotivated.
they have no morale mushrooms.
Oh, God.
How about that one? There you go. Morals. They have no morals, so a lot of things that's holding back our technology to like today, gone. And it sounds like they've been in power for some time, so of course, technology's gone to this extreme, crazy level, and now you can sort of dive into it as an agent of one of them, trying to get after the other ones. And I like, it's really interesting that they have the core book you can get for free if you get a PDF. That's really cool. That's definitely something that is different than a lot of places, you know. I ended up picking up the core book when I saw that because it was free. I could run this game now. The hardcovers would be cool. I love a good hardcover book, but I don't think I can shell out right now the standard for like even 31 at the moment, you know, extra.
Right.
I want to get more art from Ollie for various new shows and stuff. But that's a
Right.
side story, you know. But now if I wanted to, I could try this game out and play it, and that's really cool. Let me show you Ixalan docket. For those of you who don't see the docket, hey, there you go. It's Ixalan docket's correct. Woo.
Hey, you're actually putting the docket in the chat now.
No docket for you.
I actually do keep doing that over the last couple of weeks. I just keep forgetting to occasionally, like, show it off. Maybe I have to set up, like, with the other auto Nightbot stuff, like, set something up for that I can activate during Discussing Tabletop. I don't know. Different side stories. I like this because it is set in a much farther future, for one thing. We haven't looked at this far of a sci-fi often.
Yeah, because I think the original Cyberpunk wasn't even set this far in the future.
Cyberpunk was like 2040s.
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah, it's kind of the interesting thing about, like, because if you think about it, back in the day, you know, like 20, 30 years ago, it was always like, by 2000, we're going to have flying cars. And
Yeah.
And it's really funny to see, like, okay, I feel like nowadays it's still, like, we're probably still not going to be quite where things seem to be, but it's still kind of funny to kind of see people. It's like, oh, well, I guess we have to shoot for, like, 2000, the 2700s, you know?
Yeah, well, like, some games I think have done it well. I think Cyberpunk just sort of ignores a lot of facts about it. Shadowrun originally was,
Well, Shadowrun has embraced it and said, oh, yeah, no, this was a split that happened before now, you know?
Yeah, they were originally, like, because they started in the 80s, they were like, okay, 90s, that's when everything starts. And as soon as it became the 90s, they're like, alternate history.
Yeah, which is fine. I actually don't mind that.
And then after that, they're just like, we're just gonna keep pushing back the time periods with, you know, each edition, because then we can have more editions very easily.
Well, you know what I want? I want my 3 seashells. Come on,
Yeah.
anyone?
I'm not gonna go Demolition Man.
No.
So, what do you guys think about this one? I've kind of, like, thrown my little gush towards it.
I'm excited. It seems to kind of like be a further future version of the original Cyberpunk system, which I completely love. That's the first role-playing game I ever played.
It does sound like... Okay, thank you. I do think it sounds like they're incorporating some other, you know, sci-fi aspects to it, because we do have, like, artificial planets, fast life travel, alien technology. But rather than focus on the space side, we're still focused on Earth, which I think is a very interesting thing, which we don't get a lot of in these far-flung futures, you know?
Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, there is that stuff, but Earth is also still important.
Yeah, because there's still 5 superpowers controlling the planet, and they are not friendly to each other necessarily.
And the artwork's actually really good. Like, they have a page of a bunch of their art, and it's really well done.
Yeah. So I think Corporation's definitely an interesting one to check out. It's... And again, Brent, the thing is, I can't say don't get it anyway, because you can get the main book for free. I mean, get the main book and check it out for yourself. It's as simple as that. If you really, really like them and want to support them, then buy a hardcover book of some type. You know, if I become a lot more of a fan, I might buy a hardcover book. You know, it's like, I love hardcover books. They're one of my favorite things to get. So, whenever I can get one, I'm all up for it. I can't get as many as possible anymore, but you know.
Yeah.
I have a collection.
Maybe one day I'll be able to have some.
I have a massive collection of 3.0 stuff, you know, because I kept buying books back in the day.
The only hardcover stuff I have is D&D, because
yeah, the D&D
honestly,
stuff.
it's like the same price. The way they set it up.
Yeah, I got like...
Yeah, I got a lot of 3.5.
Yeah, I got 3.0,
Buy it in
3.5 books, yeah.
I even had the leather-bound GM's book. Or Dungeon Master Guide. Leather-bound with gold leaf pages.
Yeah. So Corporation, it's definitely an interesting look, and again, since you can get the main rules for free, check out the actual game if you're interested in RPGs and something a little different. Go ahead. We can't recommend that more because free is not something you can really argue against. Anyway, all right. Let's finish up with the first week because this was last week's topics. Let's finish up with the last one from that. Sakura Arms. It's a board game that's being released by Alderac Entertainment Group. It was one that was in Japan. It was designed by someone there. It was highly popular in Japan with a number of tournaments and some online games in the work, and now an English version is being brought over. It's a two-player fighting card game where players take control of Megami, which is a Japanese way of saying goddess. Megami are channeled through delicate parts of a Sakura tree. You each choose...
Stop saying soccer.
Sakura. Sakura. It's Sakura.
Kura. Yeah.
Sakura.
Like a soccer tree. I'm like...
I'm saying it too quickly. Yeah, I know it. I'm saying it too quickly. Each Megami... you choose two Megami each game to create a combination of powers. So it's a little bit of smash up that you choose two each game to combine powers, and you defeat your opponents to prove you're the best fighter. It's 2 players, 14 plus, 30 minutes to play. It comes with 2 play boards, 32 Sakura tokens. There you go. The 7 Megami Tarot cards, 49 normal cards, 28 special cards, 2 Vigor cards, an Umbrella card in the rulebook. And it goes for about 30.
Ooh, umbrella cards.
Let me link their page because it's working right now. It wasn't working earlier.
I just remembered that I left my umbrella in the backyard to dry after the rain, and now I haven't brought it in yet. Anyway.
Yeah, because
no umbrella.
Tangents.
So I mean, they have the 7 Megami right now. So there is some opportunities for variety when each player is choosing 2 out of those. So 4 each game, and combining them with, I guess, different abilities. You're trying to use your own powers to explore your opponent's weaknesses. There's a token to represent life, distance, auras, which is your defense, flare, which is your special energy, and they're based on the zone they occupy for the tokens. And moving them between zones basically positions you up for better defenses, life, special attacks, kind of things. So that's a very interesting mechanic that, more than just the card game, there is this like balancing act of messing things between the zones, and it's relatively simple at the core, and that's the point of it. And deck building and gameplay is supposed to take about 20 minutes, which is good. So,
Fast game.
a fast game is good, and I like the art from it.
Yeah, no. Sometimes they can be good.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they can be bad. It really depends.
Yeah.
That could be said about any game.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a fast game of Shadows over Camelot means you probably lost.
Yes. Accurate. Very accurate.
Same with Time Stories.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly accurate. Yeah, fast game of each of those definitely means you're going away quickly in that one.
Look, we all died.
Yeah, too bad. Like the like the art looks really cool. It has it has like I say the card art combines a little bit of your traditional anime style that you get for a lot of games, but it's like done in a brushwork style closer to more traditional Japanese art, which I like. You know, so it does feel a little like older when it's not necessarily, you know. I guess it's supposed to be capturing, you know, like more traditional feel to it, which is interesting. So, yes. Thank you for bringing this game over. It definitely looks like something I would love to try out at some point in time. Maybe get for myself. I don't know. It's a question. You have anything you two want to add to this entire thing, or do we want to move on to Unearthed Arcana?
I'm good with Unearthed Arcana.
All right.
Same.
Yep. Cool. let's move on and talk about the Unearthed Arcana, because, hey, it's 2018, and Wizards of the Coast is kicking us off with 3 new Unearthed Arcana archetypes for D&D. So again, like, if you can download it now from Wizards. I'll put the link where you can find the PDF in the chat. It's just something you can use. If you're a dungeon master, feel free to add it into your games. If you're a player, go ask your DM if he uses Unearthed Arcana, and he can check it out and see if it's fine. Or he or she, I should say. So, let's talk about them a little bit, because, I mean, Unearthed Arcana is something we've talked about before. We first have the Druid Circle of Spores. They find beauty in decay and mold and fungus. All right.
The level 14 ability is gross.
Fungal spores in your body alter you. You can't be blinded, deafened, frightened, or poisoned. And after attack criticals you, it doesn't deal the extra damage to you.
I'm a fungi. I'm a fungi.
Yeah, you become a fungus.
You become a fun guy.
Yeah. At 10th level, you can spread spores from your body. Deadly spores.
Well, at second level, you can launch toxic spores at other creatures, too.
Yeah.
To do so, you use your reaction on your turn to deal 3 poison damage to 1 creature you can see within 10 feet of you. This damage increases at 6th, 9th, 10th, and 12th and 14th.
No, it increases at 6th, 10th, and 14th level to 6 at 6th, 9 at 10th, 12 at 14th.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I read it wrong.
Yeah, that's fine. Of course, you get a couple new spells to your list of spells, including, of course, Cloud Kill. I mean, why not?
Wait, at 6th level, you can animate a corpse with fungus.
Yep. It's not actually a zombie. It's really just, like, fungus. Wait, no. You create Last of Us zombies.
Yes.
That's what you do. You create Last of Us zombies at 6th level.
It only animates for an hour, but it's useful in a fight.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, I killed the big giant over there. Animate.
No, that's just an ability they get. Unfunny one. That's not even a druid spell. The fungal.
Well, they do get animate dead as part of their circle spell.
I guess they do. Yeah, they technically get that. So I guess they could actually animate it too. But it
gets automatically animated if they kill it with their spores.
Hey, that's a reaction just to do some poison damage. So you just be like, ah, and it'd be like, ah, and they're a zombie then.
Although it does have to be a humanoid.
Yeah. Oh my, too bad. When you use wild shape feature, you can awaken the spores rather than transform to gain temporary
Yes,
hit
by
points.
an entity.
Yeah. And have your melee weapons do extra poison damage. To have your halo of spores, add more to it. Yeah, I would definitely roleplay that the animate dead spell would be adding spores to the body, or when your gaseous form, you're like a cloud of spores, you know? Yeah.
Breathe me in.
They are very,
gross.
If you like mushrooms, they're fine.
What are we creating? The Mushroom Kingdom here?
Yes.
Is that what Toad actually is?
Yeah.
He's a mushroom druid?
Yes, mushroom druid. No, it's Princess Peach, because remember, she's the normal looking one. And these can look normal. You just look like a normal person until the spores come out.
God.
Yep.
There's a fungus among us.
Anyway, that's the Circle of Spores. A little bit, it's a very interesting flavor. I'm gonna say that one. That's for sure.
Spore flavor.
For fighter, basically, we have the Brute now, who's all about, well, relying on... Yeah. Right, go ahead.
Basically, it's a fighter who wants to have some survivability of a barbarian.
Yes, that's a great way of saying it. You increase your
they
base...
deal extra...
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just was read through this one because I found it interesting.
Yeah.
They deal extra damage when they hit with a like whenever they hit, when you deal damage with a weapon you're proficient, the damage increases by an amount based on your level in the class, and it's like 3rd level, 10th level, 16th level, and you deal an extra D4, D6, D8, and then D10. And you also get bonus to saving throws, including death saving throws, and if you get higher than a 20, you get the benefits as if you had rolled a 20. So you roll an extra D6 whenever you to all your saving throws, including death saving throws. And if you get a 20 or higher on your death saving throws, it counts as if you had rolled a 20.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
and at 10th level, you just get an extra fighting style.
That's pretty cool too. Oh yeah, the one where you add your level to critical weapon damage, which starts at 15. So 15th level is just do an extra 15 damage.
Oh my gosh,
critical.
yeah.
Wow.
And then 18th level, you just regen 5 plus your Constitution modifier and hit points per turn.
Yeah.
Per round.
Wow. You are a tank, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically it's the survivability. I mean, I feel like this is going to be slightly nerfed.
Yeah, this one's probably going to be nerfed. I mean, the critical is still powerful, but you have to critical with it to do the 15 extra damage. So I can see maybe they reduce the amount of bonus damage.
Yeah, more like my thoughts are that this does more damage than the rage from a barbarian.
Oh, with the
you
bonus,
do more extra
bonus
damage,
dice?
and you don't even have to be raging. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's every time you hit. Whenever you hit with a weapon that you're proficient and deal damage, the weapon's damage increases by the amount. But like that's just, I mean, you don't have the damage reduction. You don't have the damage resistance that a barbarian has, but you still have bonuses to saving throws. You
see the bonus damage. The only thing about it is a dice roll. Like at 3rd level, it's a D4. Barbarians get +2 at that point in time.
Yeah, but barbarians cap at +4, and you get.
I thought barbarians cap at +5. Or is it +4?
+5? I think it's +4.
It is +4 for damage. Wow. Yeah. And that's yeah. I feel like the dice go up too much. Then yeah, I could agree with that one because I mean, a D10, the chances of you rolling more than a 4 are pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, you don't gain that resistance that barbarians get, but just hit so hard, and then you have bonuses to saving throws and death saving throws, so you're less likely to die and bleed out.
Well, yeah, I guess the damage resistance of barbarian is really their signature, which I guess is one of the big things, and damage resistance is really good. So I think that's what.
Well, but
I don't know.
Yeah, but my point is that you get this big bonus to damage. Well, so think about it. You get the brute bonus damage and the damage equal to level when you get hit 15th.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only on a critical hit the damage equal to a level though. Still.
Oh, is when you score? Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's actually much more reasonable.
Yeah.
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 And I guess they don't have the hit points or the damage resistance that a barbarian has.
I can see how it might be a little more powerful than the barbarian, but I don't think it's super much more powerful. I think that might need a little bit of tweaking, but I'm not sure where the tweaking is technically.
I just see this kind of getting a little bit to the point where you punch things and they die, and the GM's just like.
Well. The only thing I think is that I can say that really is the most pinnacle of it is that it's going to be 15th before you really start ramping up, because at 16th levels when you get the D8, granted before then you had the D4 for quite a while, the D6 for quite a while, extra bonus damage, but that's when you get the devastating critical, and then soon after that you get the hit point regeneration at 18th. I mean,
yeah,
the 7th, the saving throw bonus is stupendous anyway, but.
Yeah, I mean, you basically always have bardic inspiration to your saving throws or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, the one that I'm excited about is the next one now.
Okay. Why don't we talk about that one? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read through this one because it was a little bit longer, and
I've been reading through it while you guys were talking about martial archetype because this is right up my alley.
Yes, this is something
like
like...
I could. Also, I could figure out if this is broken with one real easy test. I'll just show it to my Munchkin friend and see if he wants it.
Well, the thing is, when I first glance at it, it looks a little broken. But like when I'm piecing through it, I'm not sure in playing if it would be as broken. I think at lower levels, maybe not so much, but like higher levels, maybe. I don't know.
It is a little bit hard to judge, but it's kind of just like it feels really heavy hitting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it feels heavy hitting? I agree. But anyway, School of Invention, because if you didn't want to play an artificer, this is maybe what you want to play.
Yes. I mean, they are awesome. Well, it's basically an artificer mixed with a, I can't think of the right term, the random magic, wild mage.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's basically those two kind of combined. At second level, you gain proficiency with 2 tools of your choice. That's nice. But where it gets interesting is the arcane mechanical armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
You gain proficiency with light armor and gain a suit of arcane mechanical armor, a magic item that only you can attune to. While you're attuned to wearing it, it grants you resistance to force damage.
That's really an interesting little thing, you know? It's resistance to force.
Because it's funny, because force damage really doesn't come up all that much.
But when it does...
But when it does, it's kind of interesting. And honestly, the primary damage from force, in my opinion, is magic missile.
Yeah.
Because that's just that thing like, oh my gosh, like this enemy mage is behind an army of soldiers and just magic missiling me from the back.
And now you're just like, as another mage, you're like, I'll tank it. What?
Yeah.
But you also get an AC of 12 plus your dex modifier. It only weighs 8 pounds. You can create a new suit at the end of a long rest by touching a non-magical suit of studded leather armor, which magically transforms it. Doing so removes any magic previously on the armor, turning into non-magical studded.
Yeah, basically transfer the magic. Yeah, that's cool.
But then reckless casting with it. Then you get... Basically, oh my god. At second level, you can attempt to cast a spell you don't have to prepare. When you use
it reminds me of
okay.
Second edition's Reckless Duomer.
Yeah.
You can choose one of the following options. Roll a reckless casting table for cantrips and cast the resulting spell as part of your action.
So you basically are like, I'm going to cast a cantrip. I don't have it prepared. What do I get?
Or you can expend a spell slot and roll twice on the reckless casting table for that level. Or for fifth level table, or wait, what? Or if
the fifth level table at the slot is 6 level or
6
higher.
or higher, yeah. And pick which 2 results you want. And no matter what, they count as a wizard spell, even if they're not on your spell list. And I mean, on the 5th level one, you could be like, okay, Mass Cure Wounds.
You're just a wizard that does that now.
Well,
and,
yeah,
wait, Mass Cure Wounds and Insect Plague.
Yeah.
And it changes based on
spell level that you're using.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think is like, you can really only get up to 5th level or higher spells that you can kind of cast using this, which is probably a good idea that you don't want to get too crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to...
But
yeah,
I could expend higher level slots for it anyway. You know, I could be like, oh, I need something pretty cool. I have this extra 9th level slot because my prepared 9th level spell is not useful right now. Maybe I'll get Cone of Cold.
2 5th levels.
Yeah, I get a choice from 2 Foon levels. What do I want? Like Cone of Cold or Wall of Force? Wall of Force will be helpful.
Well, you get 2, so you can do Cone of Cold, then Wall of Force.
Or you can roll 10 and roll twice and cast each spell. But if you roll another 10, you cast nothing and your action is wasted, but not the spell slot.
Yes.
So weird.
Then you have, at 6th level, Alchemical Casting.
Yeah.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
You learn to channel magic through your armor. to augment spells in variant ways. When you cast a spell wearing the armor, you're attuned to it. You can expend an additional spell slot of first or second level to alter the spell. The effect depends on the spell slot you expend. First level, you can change the energy type of the spell as long as it's, cold, acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder.
Yeah.
And second level, you can add 2d10 force damage.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, to manipulate energy, you could take something that would do necrotic or poison energy and be like, now it does fire.
Yeah.
No,
the spell has to be able to deal.
No, it says you manipulate energy when you cast a spell that deals those damage.
Yeah, that deals one of those damages. You can alter it.
Oh, okay.
My thought is a group of demons. Fireball does cold damage. Or that's the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, now it's a thunderball.
Thunderball.
Yeah.
Or I just want to add 2d10 force.
Yeah. Against one of the targets. It's just like, that's not a lot, but that could...
It's an explosive fireball.
That's still a little bit of extra damage that can make a difference.
Prodigious Inspiration,
oh
10th.
God. You can bonus action. You can replace one of the spells you prepared from your spell with another spell from your spell book, but you can only use it for a short or long rest. But still, that could be like, hey,
no, that's actually so nice because normally you can only do things in like a long rest. It's like that's the only time you can re-prepare spells, and so it's just kind of like, I didn't expect to go up against a demon and I have only fire spells.
Or it could be even something like mild, like, we know there's a secret door here, but none of us are able to detect it. I do have detect secret doors in my book.
Spell book. Let's rest for a second and let me.
I can't remember if there's an actual detect secret door.
You switch it and then you only have to rest afterwards to be able to switch again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
really useful. And then controlled chaos.
Yeah.
At 14th level, your ability to improve magic grows stronger. Whenever you roll on the reckless casting table for a spell other than a cantrip, you can roll the table, roll on the table that is one level higher than the expended spell slot. So it's like, I sacrificed a 4th level spell. I'm going to roll on the 5th level spell slot.
Yeah.
That's a little powerful, but
again, it's still. I think it's also random chance that might help you because you could like for let's say getting rid of the 1st level spell and you might get like darkness and levitate, and it could be like we're already in the dark and I couldn't see anything if it's magical darkness, and levitate doesn't help. Well.
Or you could roll a 10 and then roll a second 10 and be like, well, I spent a spell slot and got nothing.
Yep.
So there is that chance. So I think that's the countering balance of it being powerful, is that there is a chance that nothing can come of it.
Yeah. I think there might be a little bit more to it anyway at some point in time, I would say. Like a little bit more editing. But it's pretty good for what they already have, I do think.
And you get AC as a wizard, which is nice.
Yes, very nice. This is a very interesting. These are all very interesting ones to test. So we haven't really heard a lot from them from a while, I do have to say. So, like, hearing a bit more information is great. And especially hearing, like, this is what they've been coming up with in the interim.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to test the Circle of Spores and definitely the School of Innovation.
Yeah.
I'd like to... I want to test the Brute to see how powerful it is. And like, so, like, in the chat, I brought up, like, it's still, like, you have the same problem with high-level spellcasters, but... Honestly, the difference here versus like a spellcaster is this does all of these things without expending any resources.
Yeah.
That's the part about it, is like with the spellcaster, it's like you still have spell slots, you still have like you can only do this a certain number of times a day. And it's like if you have a longer adventuring day, the fighters tend to fare a little bit better on these longer terms. than let's say like warlocks warlocks can do a little bit better because they have short rest, and same with monks and stuff where they can do short rest to gain back things.
Right.
But it's like the resources expended really kind of vary things up between class to class.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, having the brute take up absolutely zero resources to do all this extra damage, like even a barbarian has to use a rage. Now,
Yeah.
I've never actually seen a barbarian go through all their rage, let's be real, in a day. But at the same time, it's there. If it can happen, and it probably has happened to some people, it's just not very common because they kind of give them enough.
Right. And I mean, at least in 5th edition, now they have cantrips that you always have spells to use.
Yeah, but they're pretty weak.
But they're not nearly as powerful as something like the brute with the brute, what they get. But I'm just saying, at least you have that now as a magic user, as in before. Yeah. You could be out of 0 level spells and be like, no, I can't cast anything. I pull out a bow.
Well, I think that was one of those things. Didn't Pathfinder bring in the use at will stuff? But they didn't have the leveling cantrips. Leveling cantrips came. Leveling cantrips was from 4th edition. Yeah.
Did 4th have leveling?
4th edition had their version of what a cantrip was, and it did level up with you. I remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The at will ones. Yeah.
Yeah, at will ones. That did get better, which was the ancestor of the cantrips as we see in 5th edition. But Pathfinder took lessons from that too. Which I remember. 3rd and 3.5, where you'd run out of cantrips and run out of spells, and you'd be like,
I pull out a bow?
Staff? Well, you weren't proficient unless you were an elf, so it's sort of like...
Yeah, true.
Quarterstaff? Clunk?
Dagger?
A dagger?
I go crawl in a hole and hide. But the leveling up on the cantrips definitely helps spellcasters now, because it's like I always have something I can do okay damage with. It may not be the greatest, but at least I have something to fall back on.
Yeah, and I do like what they've done with a lot of this. Definitely, the reckless casting is definitely interesting. Again, it might need some tweaks. I do like the rest. Like, just the idea of the reckless cantrips is just hilarious to me. Anyway.
Well, I played wild mages before. I like them, and to combine a wild mage with an inventor type, that's totally me. I totally could see me playing a gnome.
Yep.
Oh yeah, this is the gnome class through and through.
Yeah.
It is
I love
indeed the gnome
gnomes.
class. Yep.
But yeah, kind of reminds me of, it's a kind of like a throwback to like Newell's Reckless Dwemer or whatever it's called from 2nd edition, where you basically can, I think it's like you, although that one I think you try to cast a spell that you don't know or isn't on your list or something like that. I don't remember, is it a sorcerer? Is wild magic? I think wild magic is a wizard thing in 2nd edition.
In 2nd edition they did not have sorcerers, so it was.
Yeah. So but
it was all wizard.
Yeah. So, like, wizards, like, if they wanted to cast something that wasn't on their spell list, they could cast Newell's Reckless Dwemer, and they could I think for them, though, it's like they could... I don't remember how it works, because I've never actually played 2nd edition. I've just seen it played. And it's like you could cast, and you could try to cast a spell, but, you have to roll to see if it worked or not. And if it didn't, you could fireball yourself and stuff, so...
I vaguely remember stuff with wild magic from 2nd edition, but again, it's like my 2nd edition experiences are, decades old now, and not that well. It's sort of like, yes, do I remember wild magic? Sure. Do I remember how it worked? Hell no.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I remember very little about my second edition adventures, because the one I remember the most was the one Zach ran, and then his brother took over, and it went off the rails.
Yeah, when you transfer games randomly at the beginning of it, it does that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, when you transfer games to a late teen to someone who's like 12,
yeah,
and they decide, oh look, you're in a cave and you're standing on a giant boomerang, and you get launched out of the cave.
On the boomerang.
Yes, it's like, what? And how am I staying on this thing?
Do I have to make a check? What?
No, you're stuck on it.
Anyway, all right.
Okay.
But those are the 3 unearthed arcana that D&D has introduced us to. It's a lot of stuff to talk about. It's definitely some interesting ones to check out.
And here's the fun thing about this. It means they're planning another class book.
Yes. That's true. And they have had a lot of unearthed arcana book materials that they haven't actually shown off still, too, which I don't know if they're going to get back to. So they still.
I feel like they're going to have because like the Xanthar's guide seemed to be like, okay, here's some rules updates. Here, it's like a little bit of everything. Xanthar's guide to everything.
Citizen of the Empire.
But the
thank you, Blaze Kitsune / Borie for the Twitch Prime subscription.
Anyway,
yeah, sorry.
It seems like they're still planning for a full class book, which is why, they're probably going to release the Mystic and the Artificer with that, and we'll see if they plan anything else. They may. I assume there are maybe like 1 or 2 simpler classes that they didn't feel the need to release on a UA.
Yeah.
And probably a bunch of other like subclasses.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to what they're coming out with book-wise next. I think they're playing it a little bit smarter than they have in past, and focusing on much better, fewer books rather than, a billion books. So we have like 2 books a year, 2 like core-ish books, and because we had Xanathars and Volos last year. Yeah. And
I feel like there's only really been like 1 a year though.
I thought Volos was last year though, or.
Well, I think it was like, but Xanthar's came out so close to Christmas, whereas Volos was like, what? When did Volos come out?
I don't know. I will sing a song about Volo's Guide to Monsters. Just for a second, because I have no idea when it was actually released. It was released. Oh, it was released the year before. Well, crud.
Yep. Yeah. So I feel like they've been releasing like 1 a year rather than like, I think where you're getting the every twice a year is that they've also released like a module every year.
They do release a module, and yeah, I guess that's more where you get it from too. The big module.
Because there are some things in those as well.
They did do 2 different. They did another module type book, Tales of the Yawning Portal.
Yeah, Tales of the Yawning Portal and
Tomb of Annihilation. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of thinking of it from. But last year they also had Dungeonology along with Volo's Guide. They both came out right around the same time. I don't know. They're not releasing a lot of books though. That's the way we're gonna say it. Yeah, they're releasing very few but very good books. So, anyway, all right. I did want to talk a little bit about moving on to Modifius. Modifius is basically celebrating the new year with because Modifius, they have a lot of different RPGs. They're big on RPG systems. They've had a few quick start guides, free quick start guides. Now they've just decided to take 4 of their ones that haven't had it before and just add them in. They're like, oh hey, here's 4 more games that we have. We've talked about Space 1889 and I think a little bit about Mutant Chronicles before, and I haven't talked about Infinity or the Elite Dangerous RPG. But now, if you want to try them out, free quick start guides for everyone. Because they already had like Conan and Star Trek that you could try out, but yeah, it's like 4 more that they didn't have. And
also, when I went looking around for their quick starts, I found it really funny because their Conan one, it's free, but then it also said in big bold letters, 25% off. on Roll20.
Wow.
Sorry, not Roll20.
Off free.
RPG, drive-through RPG. Which I think it was probably a bunch of their products were probably 25% off, and it just got lumped in with them. But it's still just kind of funny to see that.
I'm gonna send out in chat the link to their quick start set of rules where all their quick starts are, for which I think all of them are free. But basically they had 7 out now and they got 11. That nearly that is a big percentage more, and I know a couple of these, again, we've talked about them more recently. I think or at least I've seen stuff on them more recently, I should say. Like Carnanum is pretty recent. Coriolis is pretty recent. The Star Trek and Conan, I think we might have talked about those, but those were big IPs, so I could see the quick starts coming out for them. So that's like
Space 1889. Did we talk about that recently?
We talked about it like a couple months ago. That's like the one where it's Victorian age and Thomas Edison invented space travel.
Yep, that was a couple months ago. I remember that one, yeah. So they have a quick start to that one.
Yeah. The Mutant Chronicles, I think we've mentioned some stuff that either use the base rules for it or something. So that's interesting. And I don't know a lot about their Infinity. I think I might have seen something on Infinity recent, and I know nothing about their Elite Dangerous one.
Yeah, I'm actually, I didn't even know there was an Elite Dangerous role-playing game, to be honest. I'm kind of just like, how is that, like trade simulator RPG?
Oh god, I don't know how it's going to work.
It's like how do you make Elite Dangerous into an RPG? I mean, it's kind of just flying a ship around.
A standalone booklet contains a single adventure, The Worst Intentions, for you to play. It's included 4 pre-generated characters, including their ship and equipment. Partial rules for personal combat, space combat, ground combat are included. It's a skill-based system using a D10 and skill bonus to exceed different numbers. Advanced by your ranks. You begin as harmless and can make your alt way up to deadly and then elite, because you gain ranks, I guess.
I'm harmless.
You begin with your own spaceship, just like in the computer game. You can improve your ships with upgrades and weapons and internal stuff. So it's a little bit like Elite Dangerous, but I guess it's taking some of the more...
It's just weird to me to think that they turned a video game that's so much about the gameplay into a role-playing game.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the easiest way to say it. I don't know how that one's going to work. But, I mean, it's a whole bunch of quick starts, so if you want to try out any of these RPG systems, the ones that we talked about in the past, and these 4 new ones, it's available. I mean, I'm guessing this is a great way that they've seen maybe more profit and more buy-ins on games like Star Trek and Conan than they have on, Space 1889 and like. So they're like, oh, here you go. Learn about it. Maybe you want to purchase it then. I mean, if it's seeming like it's a very good model, I'm fine with that. I like quick start guides. They're really interesting. They're definitely a great way for you to
sample the game.
Yeah. And so, hey, cool. I think we've talked about how quick start guides are a very interesting thing, and it would be a good trend to do. And this is showing off that it's maybe is a trend. If they're putting out more all of a sudden. All the support for it. All right. So, I think that's everything. We want to kind of talk a little bit about that there. I mean, I'm probably butchering their name.
Modifius.
Modifius?
Modifius. Modifius, yeah.
Modifius. But it's got like a weird umlaut and a line over its name, so it's like Modifios or something. I don't know. They have it in their artistic title, their weird.
I think it's Modifiaus.
Modifiaus.
The umlaut makes it
the double dots.
Yeah, I think it's like an ow sound.
Yes, Modifiaus. I don't know.
Anyway,
who knows? They have a name that's nearly impronounceable, and they're showing off, and they're giving us some great stuff. So, thank you.
The Shadow knows.
Shadow's a jerk. Anyway, let's finish up today's topics with Bloodbound. It's a social game of deduction, bluffing, and vampire intrigue for 6 to 12 players. And
that's a lot of people.
Yes. During the game, you and the players on your team. So there's 2 teams. Embody a clan of vampires that must work together to capture the leader of the rival vampire team. And the catch, you never know who your ally is and who your enemy is until it's far too late. Among the vampire clans, treachery is bound, betrayal is inevitable, and you will need to negotiate this betrayal. Yep. So, at the beginning of the game, it's basically each character secretly dealt a character card identified as Marble of the Gargoyle or Phoenix Clan. And it's equally distributed. So 6 players will have 3 members on each team. If the game is an odd number of players, it adds a nefarious inquisitor who plays by their own rules. So that's an interesting one. So the teams are going to be even, but there might be a third group that's an individual who wants to basically have both clans lose.
Yes.
And you get each identity and your dagger too. So I guess you can like shank people if you need to.
Yeah, when you stab someone, they have to give information about themselves.
Yep. So you just stab people to get information. It's like, tell me about yourself.
So, why don't you tell me about yourself?
Let's say it's like,
It would be nice to know.
I've just stabbed you just politely and stuff like so tell me about yourself. Do you like long walks on the beach? Let me just twist this knife a little bit. So it's only supposed to take 15 to 30 minutes, 6 to 12 players. It's
that's a little bit pain. 6 minimum is a little painful for a game.
You know what I'd tell you about myself though if you stab me?
What?
I don't like being stabbed.
Too bad. Well, I think it's sort of like when you play things like Ultimate Werewolf or I know Town of Salem has a board game which is basically the same thing or a card game.
It's a party game.
It's a party game, so you do need party, and that's the important thing to talk about with this one. It's a
15 to 30 minutes.
That's what I was going to say. On the good side, it's only 15 to 30 minutes.
Meaning you get a lot of rounds in pretty quickly during a party, if you really wanted to. And it is a deception game. So it's got that, it's got that Ultimate Werewolf. It's got that resistance kind of feel of deception and, figuring out stuff. Secret Hitler has that too, except this is definitely for a larger number of players. And I do like games like this. It's just, you have to gather 6 people together. That can be a challenge. Definitely. And the idea of definitely that, you're not quite sure who's on what side is very cool. That you're sort of, it's played out in other games anyway. And I'm interested to see how they take certain things, because normally, like, when you're playing something like Resistance or Secret Hitler, the goals of the two sides are very obvious. So, like, slowly playing towards those, that's fine and pretty easy to do. This one, you're trying to identify a leader and capture it, because whoever has the lowest, whoever has the lowest number within your clan is the clan leader. But at the beginning of the game, you're not even sure who the clan members are, or even if you are the leader. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you have like a 3, it's like, well, did someone get a card lower than me or not?
Yeah.
Right. Or like a 4 or 5 is like, that could be easily yes or no.
Yeah. There's definitely some interesting dynamics on that end. And I think that makes it, I would say, a little more challenging than some of the other ones, which is maybe not a bad thing. So definitely that might be the advantage it has over some of the other similar games. And the fact is, it's only $20, and that's not bad.
No.
Oh, it's actually really not.
No, it's right in an affordable price range for this kind of game, definitely. Yeah. At the start of the game, each player knows 3 things: who they are and to what clan they belong. The other players, that are a few other players, are allies, and everyone else is the enemy. Okay, and the clans to which their neighbors one of their neighbors belongs, though characters can lie about clan identity. So yeah, so you can sort of like know a little bit about your neighbor, but did he lie? Is he on your side, or is he an enemy, or is he lying just to like? You don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm totally a phoenix. Trust me.
Totally a phoenix. I'm not going to just knife you in the back. I don't know what's going on here. This knife, it ended up here. It wasn't my fault. I'm not behind
sorry.
it.
I just left it sitting on the chair, point up, and told you to take a seat.
It happened to have gotten stuck in the back of the chair before you sat down. So you just plunged yourself into it.
By the way, tell me, What about you?
So it looks like this is actually a game that's been out in Germany before, I'm guessing, because it has some awards from 2014, and they're very German rewards.
Yeah.
So we're getting an English translation now. But I guess that's another thing that Fantasy Flight likes to do sometimes, get us the translated / maybe updated version. But anyway, what do you guys think? Anything to add to talking about Bloodbound?
Seems interesting.
Yeah.
I would try it.
I would.
Yeah. Finding 6 people will be the challenge, but still.
Yeah, that's the really hard part. I mean, I hardly have one friend, let alone 6.
If I could find it on Tabletop Simulator, you could probably figure out how to do it on Tabletop Simulator. You know,
I'd be your friend.
Well, I mean, if we want to go to California sometime, we could probably grab him and Tiv.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tiv's Northern California, so I mean it'll take him a bit to drive down, but he said something about doing it at some point in time, so yeah. Next time we go to California, I mean the first time we go to California.
Yeah, I've never been to Cali, so.
Nope. Farthest out west was Arizona. Yes.
Nevada for me.
Don't bother bringing winter clothes.
I did it for Arizona, and I actually needed a jacket then. Because we went up into, like, the mountainy areas.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you go. But if you're going to, like, where I am, which is, like, the LA area.
Oh, God, no. Oh, man, yeah.
Totally bring, like, 3 parkas.
You're, like, just wearing a parka all the time. You're like, I'm very hot!
Yeah. I mean, you might need a light jacket if you go, like, to the actual, like, coast. And, you know, because you can get a little bit cold down by the shore. But...
Anyway. Alright, let's dive into the last couple of segments today. Why don't we start out with everybody's, we call it a favorite segment? Kickstarter Korner. So, if you don't know this one, it's, well, I mean, one of the weeks had a single Kickstarter. So, I mean, you're not much,
I found a Kickstarter.
Choose your favorite out of one.
Oh, you found one. Excellent. That helps, too, because there's just some this week, and then that other week there was one.
I took one from your list.
I actually didn't look at your list, so I hope I didn't steal someone's.
We'll find out. You can go first.
So, I found one, it's almost certainly not going to get funded because it has 6 days to go and is like, anyway, but it's called the Arcane Eye. And it's actually it's a guy trying to develop software for it seemed kind of interesting because it's supposed to be for local gameplay to like use like tablets or something to, it's honestly, the way he wrote it is actually not super clear, which is probably why. But it seems like he's trying to integrate tablets and like a TV screen to kind of like make it so you can do role-playing games like as a group, like in person, in a very interesting kind of dynamic way, and using technology and like maps and stuff.
Cool.
But not going to get funded because 6 days left to go, and he's at $370 out of $25,000 goal.
Ouch.
So, not happening, but it's kind of interesting to see this kind of thing. You know, hopefully he'll try again at some point. You know, we'll see. It looks like it could be interesting if it's done right.
Yeah, that's always what counts. If it's done correctly, it ends up being interesting.
Yeah. So hopefully get some publicity if he tries again. He or she.
Yep. Okay, Joe, how about you?
I took Nightcrawl.
Ooh, Nightcrawl. Good choice.
Yes, it's a film noir tabletop role-playing game. So, you know, set in that, you know, detective noir genre, which I love that genre. So I think that sounds really interesting. It's a D20 system. Very basic for the actual rules. You know, you have certain stats, which are vitality, brawn, fitness, fortitude. I can't read all of them. Insight, charm, operate, I can't read the other two.
Let me take a look. Is the
On the character sheet that they
Can
have
I
listed
finish?
there.
Can I say one more thing real fast? Because I just
Yeah.
want to. Yeah. So basically, the goal is the GM has his screen on a computer. It's broadcast to a TV, and then the players each have like a tablet or like their phone or something to control their stuff. Is the goal of it?
Cool.
Vitality and Fortitude, Charm, Brawn, Acumen, Operate, Finesse, Sagacy, and Insight. Sagacy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to look this word up.
But
the quality of being suspicious.
Okay.
Sagacy. All
We
right.
learned a new word today, people.
We did learn a new word today.
They have met their goal. Their pledge goal was 1,000.
Yes.
And they're at 1,075 and 12 days to go. I don't know if they'll make any of the other levels, because the next level's 2,500.
Yeah.
Then 35, then 45.
Yeah.
Which just adds new scenarios to it. 25. Let's see.
That adds Lovecraftian-esque stuff
Yeah.
to the game. And then it's, what was it? I remember, because I remember talking about this one. It was War of the Worlds and then Night of the Living Dead for the last one.
Yeah. And the world's one, I love it. Bzz, an officer explodes into a fine blue mist. And out of the foggy sky, a great steel beam pierces into the ground, and a pod pops out of the leg and quickly shifts into a bipedal metallic man. But I just love a cop explodes into a fine blue mist.
It's a blue mist, too. Man.
I mean, the gaming experience sounds very basic. It's just a D20 system.
Have you never heard the term blue blood?
Yes.
Yes.
The character.
I think that's where they were going.
Yeah.
Yes. The character sheet leaves a little to be desired. It's very basic.
Mm-hmm.
And it does look like you could do like targeted shots, head, arm, leg, torso.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But it's very much a story-driven game, it looks like.
Yeah. That's definitely something I agree with you. That's very story-driven. I do like how in one part of the thing, it's like they do give option rules, like, you know, it's not, you can play female detective, you could be a cop instead of a detective, you could have a family and a day job, you know, it's sort of like, you don't have to take on the traditional noir feelings and still capture the feeling of the world, you know, you don't have to take on some of the, well, not traditional noir, the, what word I'm looking for, that, like, every noir is like a cop show kind of thing, you know,
right,
cop, or detective drama,
it's very open-ended.
Yeah, it's open-ended for the same feeling of it, you know.
Yeah, you're in that type of world, but you can kind of, you know, be something that's not traditional.
Yeah, which is
and
cool.
then they have a sliding scale for difficulty that goes from 1 to 30. You know, 1 to 8 they consider easy, 9 to 15 target is medium, and the 16 to 20 is almost is hard, and a 21 to 30 is almost impossible, because whatever your bonuses are, because if the DM will say, okay, give me your roll of, you know, your fitness and vitality, so you get those bonus added to whatever you roll in the D20.
Cool. So yep, 12 days to go. They are just funded, so you could definitely get on it, and you wouldn't have
the max pledge is only 30.
Yeah.
Which you get your name in the book. You could put you get a blurb that you can have in the front, and an NPC named after you.
Yeah.
Also, the this guy's pictures. Okay, so at the I'm looking at them. And it's like it's kind of funny because like I don't know where he got some of these, because some of them are links to like. So I just found it funny because it's like. And then like the map at the bottom, I know what program was used to generate this. It's like something on like itch.io that I've used before. And I'm just like, huh, okay.
Yeah, like the Paradise Dining picture takes you to a site talking about some place in France that
Yeah, like
existed.
he linked it as kind of like what is it, like attribution or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
The one picture almost looks like from Singing in the Rain.
Yeah. Right. That's what I was thinking. Anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I just found that interesting because I noticed the map and I'm like, wait, I know this. I know this map style. I've used it before.
All right. So to finish off Kickstarter Korner with me, I will give a couple of small shout-outs, and then I will talk about the one I want to do. Shout-out to Thunder in the East, because guess what? It's still being... That's the one from 2 weeks ago from Gather and Roll. It's still on, and it's funded, you know, so it's a 2-player game all about the eastern front of the battle between Germany and Russia. Neat. Black Hole Council is an interesting game where you're a council of people and deciding which planets to send into a black hole. Not yours. Children of the Apocalypse. It's a sort of fantasy, sci-fi, apocalyptic game where they give you rules about integrating your own town into the apocalyptic world. But the one I wanted to talk about was the Castle of the Mad Archmage Musicland. Something about this like appealed a little bit to me, like because I like a good mega dungeon, and it's what it is a mega dungeon, and they keep adding levels to this mega dungeon. It's sort of like the Mad Mage, you enter into a new area and you find yourself in a music land where people talk to sing, instruments speak, and like there's the king of introduce produces melodies that embody the Platonic idea of music itself. So you speak in like musical notes and like, you know, instruments are alive. You know, you find yourself in a parallel dimension in the castle.
I have a question.
Yeah. Are
the hills alive?
They are.
The sound of music?
They actually are at this point in time, and they might speak back to you. Yeah, let me put this up in the chat. Yep, there we go. So $5 gets you the PDF copy, $7 gets you the print, $30 you get all of the PDF expansions. You get the original Castle of the Mad Archmage, the 2 expansions they have, and this expansion. So, I mean, they hit their stretch goal of $1,000 with 16 days to go. They've actually gotten up to $4,000 now. So they've definitely expanded it. They don't actually have any stretch goals up right now.
Nope.
They kept it simple. But the thing is, the original Castle of the Mad Archmage apparently had 13 levels with over 1,500 types of encounters, perils, monsters, traps, and treasures you could find. And now they're just adding more to it. So this could be an entire campaign stuck in someone's goddamn castle, wandering through alternate dimensions and other weird crap. And I kind of like that.
And you might have to sing your way through.
I know. I tried to make a dungeon like this once before, and I failed spectacularly. Spectacular failure.
You guys are transported into a musical.
Yeah.
Bards love this adventure.
Bards be welcome for the musical portion of the adventure. Yeah, I mean, I do find it interesting, you know, because well, you could get they only had, I think actually they had 100 printed versions of Musicland, but they were gonna do, but it all got taken up. So you can only get the PDF. You can get a print and PDF version of the standard Musicland, but what was it? There was a handcrafted limited edition they had 100 of that went away. Yeah, too bad. You can still get a print copy, but it's probably just like, you know, a standard print, simple, you know, paperback. Yeah, paperback.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, this is definitely one that like caught my eye. It's got 16 days to go. As I said, it's 4 times the normal funding, so they might, if they put out a stretch goal, they put out a stretch goal. I haven't seen any up here right now, but definitely, you know, they're cool. They're, you know, they went over the goal line on day 1.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is like, I guess people really liked the Castle of the Mad Archmage, maybe, and that used its popularity to get that. I guess if they sent out messages to all their former backers, that's a good way. That's something you can do. I remember. So, All right. Anyway, that is that though. Why don't we move on though to our week in tabletop? I guess our 2 weeks in tabletop at this point in time, since we missed last week. Joe, why don't you start out with?
Well, we all played on Monday. My God, my brain just died.
Time Stories.
Yes. One of the Time Story games.
Yeah, that was fun.
We're going to have to
It was
continue
a lot of
next
fun.
Monday.
Yes, it'll be continued this Monday. I died.
You would have technically come back in a certain number of turns. We just ran out of time. It was like in 7, and we had like 5 on the clock, so we're like, you're not coming back.
No,
Yeah, we were about to lose anyway.
I ran into a giant monster and went, oh shit, and got killed.
Yeah.
We know not to enter that part of the forest again.
Yes. We know where the giant monster is. Or we should remember where the giant monster is.
Yes. But, I mean, the first playthrough, because we've done Time Story, you and I have done Time Story before, is kind of the putting your feelers out of where things are and what order to do things the second time around.
And maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah, most likely you're not going to do it in one go.
Yeah.
Especially not the first go. That was a lot of fun. It's had some interesting characters to it. Other than that, just games at the diner. We did some more Fun Fair.
Yeah, Fun Fair was good.
That's all we did last Saturday.
Yeah, I managed to get a super victory in Fun Fair. It actually ended up that I wasn't that far ahead of a couple of, like, you and stuff, but I did manage to, like, early on get a very good footing, and I kept the momentum, even though Hannah just devastated me at one point. When she got rid of that one person that was giving me a lot of money. Yeah.
Yes. Well, the problem is I started off on the bad foot of I bought something that did help me, but I lost out on getting extra money in the first round because everyone else was able to build the
thing to get extra money, yeah.
Thing to get extra money that round. So I started off a little behind. I caught up, but was not able to catch up quite as well.
Yeah. I think we probably did more tabletop in the week before that, but I can't... No, wait, what did we do? Because that was the week I came back from seeing my sister. I can't remember what we did on that day.
I don't remember either.
Well, boop.
Oh well.
I mean, the only thing I could think of was, we had no, because last week was the oh yeah, we did have.
We might have played more. What was the date? What's today's date? 13. It would have been the 6th. Let me just check something in my folder here. I did not play 7 Days to Die multiplayer on the 6th, so we didn't do that.
Yeah, no, because you were busy. I don't know if you were still with your sister.
I went and did stuff with people because I got back and we did the game with Frank until late in the morning when I got back.
Oh yeah,
that was when we start. That's when you guys started the desert one, and I popped in when I got home after I'd hung with people. We did some kind of game. I, for the life of me, can't remember because my memory is terrible. Anyway, Wyrm, how about you go over yours, and then I'll do some. I'll like add in my 2 cents, and I don't know if I've got anything other than doing stuff with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I could let you handle Bastion Frontier, but for me, I had a Curse of Strahd game with my friends last weekend. It was kind of fun. They rescued some people. They got nearly absolutely destroyed because several of them rolled. About half the party failed their saving throw against the Banshee Whale.
That will do it.
Yup. So yeah, that happened. And yeah, then they kind of still tried to venture a little bit. They got lucky on their after that a little bit, but then they actually ended up ditching the castle to to hopefully come back later, because it's like, oh, we are worse for wear after that. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, sounds like it. Nice.
continuing that this tomorrow.
Cool. And we had 2 weeks of Bastion Frontier, where the first one we ended up getting into going to go help. I don't even remember why. Oh, we went to meet up with Shadow and Nunca, and then we learned about the animal traded orcs, and then we decided to go rescue a whole bunch of kids. And then this week we sort of planned out our murder of a whole bunch of people, which we sort of like Black Ops No Witness to a whole bunch of orcs. Pretty effectively until like the end there, you know. And we captured one, and we rescued a bunch of children. And I collected a bunch of rabbits' feet, which are totally now around a necklace around my neck to like be lucky and also to intimidate other rabbits. They're probably not actually lucky. Those poor rabbits I just killed. You know, I gathered orc pinkies, and I'm totally.
And I did roll to see if they were lucky. They were not.
They're probably not. And totally that like lady's heart I might take as soon as God.
Roomval
Nowhere.
Nowhere wants. Oh, you're talking about.
Yeah, what's the killer? And I'll take something afterwards.
I thought you were talking about the name of the person she wanted to kill, which was Roomval the repugnant.
Yeah. Nope. Her heart will be mine. To do with what I will. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might cook it up. I might do something else with it. But I'll take it out.
You guys also met the Dragonborn that you bypassed the first time you saw him.
He's evil. He's working with the orcs. I'm on to him.
Yeah, sure.
I know. As a player, I know he's not really evil. But my character's still like, nope, he's evil. He's going along for it now because he knows we'll spare his life.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Just because I'm a bit racist against metallic dragonborns, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Okay. Good times. I don't think I said anything particularly terrible. Or did I? I don't remember. It's hard to remember all my terrible things I say. In my implications that, you know, the continued hookups of various people, too.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. Cool. Alright, so let's move on to our final segment, Ask, or Consult the Table, where you can ask us anything. Anything about, tabletop gaming, role-playing, collectible card games, if you need to know about running a table, putting stuff up online, anything like that that's related to the tabletop world that we're in. Go ahead and ask us in chat, and we will answer to the best of our ability. I will, in the meantime, check out our Yahoo, because we do have a... No, I didn't want that. That's an entirely different link. We do have a Yahoo, discussingtabletop@yahoo.com, which you can check in with us and just email us if that's one way you want to connect with us with questions. Or you, of course,
tweet us.
Any of us.
Yep.
We can answer the questions to the best of your ability. You can always find me on my Discord, or, talk to any of us on the Discord there. Those are probably the best ways to reach us. You can also leave it in the chat when I put this up on YouTube in a couple of days. Okay, that's a good question. Alright, so, this is a question that relates to, of course, doing a talk show like this, or it actually also helps out with doing role-playing related shows. I use OBS as a program. Now, I use both OBS and OBS Studio. I've been using normal OBS for Discussing Tabletop, though I could theoretically transfer it over to Studio, because I know how to now. I just haven't. It's just one of those things. But, so in that, I build up... I have the overlay, and I can then, with normal OBS, I can then load up Skype 3 times, because we're on Skype, and I can then just taper down where each image is. So I have each of our heads and our video cameras, and then I can edit the image and kind of put them all together to show off where everything is.
be a little bit more technical, I can basically what you want to do. So you have the overlay, and then what you want to do is you take, like you said, you do like program capture or window capture or something like that. Capture the window. Then what you do is you 3 times. You want 3 instances of it. Then you transform those to be the size of the camera, and then you transform by doing the transform, edit, transform. And then you can like basically change the bounds for where the screen is, and you can move them around on into the boxes.
See, the thing about with Skype, and unfortunately, I have to set this up every time. So if we get like a 4th guest, I will have to rearrange everyone on the show to basically make it work.
So here's what I would do. If I were you, if you know you're gonna have varied amounts. And you have different, as long as you have different overlays, or, I mean, you don't even have to sometimes, you can cover it up or do something else, but basically, you have scenes, so you can switch between different scenes. So what I do is I would have 4 people scene, 5 people scene, and it's all set up, so as long as you have the right number of people, it should stay that way. You have to set it up each time for each amount of people, but every time you get a new set of people, you can make a new scene, and then set it up so that way every time there's 5 people, it's the same scene.
Yep.
Every time you have 4 people, you have that scene. Yeah. So that's how you do it without having to edit it every single time.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not as familiar with Stream Deck, but yeah, if you set up a bunch of different scenes, and each scene is for a different number of people, that's really the way that you do it. It makes it easier that you can just click into it. Again, sometimes you need a little editing here and there, finagling, but that's just, usually you want to do a little bit of pre-show to set anything up, depending on how long it takes you. Like for me, I usually give myself between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on, how busy I am in the morning with everything else I do on my various channels, how much I've set everything else up.
I usually give myself 15 because people like to talk and introduce each other and stuff beforehand.
Yeah, I feel like we maybe, like, some of these times I should do more just in case we want to talk more about these things, but,
It's not as hard with the 3 of us on Discussing Tabletop because we know each other and we can jump right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like a role-playing game where it's like, oh, the pre-talk is kind of like, so I'm thinking you're going to do this, so what's that, yo?
Yeah. Well, it's like I got to spend like 45 minutes with my niece kind of like snuggled up on me and I couldn't get her off. So, that was a distraction. So it was adorable, but an adorable distraction. Time consuming. But yeah, so that's basically how you would set it up. It works for a talk show you're doing for this, for a role-playing game. Anything that you're trying to stream with a background overlay and then having people on top of it. It works, with camera images, I guess Skype is the one I recommend because I know the other 2 video sources. There's a third video source I know about that I've heard about that I haven't ever really used, but I know that for Google Plus and Discord's video services, they like to switch in between videos or something, and it's weird.
So the problem is other video sources, for example, Google Hangouts, their static images are really small, and they otherwise just switch between people. As their main view. Discord does in disproportionate box sizes, depending on how many people are there. You can have one big one small one, because it's like it doesn't. And I'm just kind of like, Discord, why'd you do that? And honestly, Skype desktop version does that. Or sorry, Skype for Windows 10 version does that.
Ooh.
Don't use Skype for Windows 10. Just use the standard desktop version. It works on Windows 10, and it doesn't have all the crap. Although, there are some things on it that apparently would make life nicer. For example, you can get rid of the background sound cancellation crap that the base version does. But then you have to deal with the other stuff, and it's just kind of like, why Skype?
I've tried Zoom video conference once, and it worked pretty decently, but I haven't had a need to switch over to anything else anyway, but I think that's another one that you could use.
And everyone has Skype. That's why people use Skype.
Well, yeah, that's why Skype is
free
easy.
And everyone uses it.
Yeah, but Zoom might be another one if you're looking to not have Skype. That one, someone else ran it and I was part of it, and that worked fine when I was a member of that. So, All right. If you have any more questions right now, just leave it in chat. Or as I said, you can always email us or tweet us, or even leave it in when I put this up on YouTube side. And next Tuesday it should go up. You can always leave the
Or ask us in the Discord down below.
Yeah, there's lots of ways you can ask us more questions too, and we're always happy to help. Tabletop, or this is definitely related to something that could definitely do some tabletop and stuff. So, anyway, why don't we?
It's fine.
Yeah, this is a fine question. It was a related question. We'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't we end for the show for today? Who are you people? What do you do? How about we start with Wyrm, of course. Where can people find you doing stuff, things like that?
I am Diamond Wyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm, where I do my own channel streaming RPGs, video games, etc. I'll be Amber City will be returning tonight after a long hiatus, as it feels like it always is. I swear, we take it's supposed to be every other week, but we play probably about once a month because things just happen. But anyway, so that's continuing. Bastion Frontier on Wednesdays, another RPG. Do stuff with Tantus and Tavalik a lot. I have a Twitter. I have a Discord. You can follow or subscribe on my channel. Twitter is at Diamond Wyrm. There we go. I think I covered everything.
Cool. Thank you for the follow, Fire Daimoni. So, Joe, how about you?
I pimp you as usual.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty much gonna find me on this channel, doing role playing or doing discussing tabletop with them. So you can also tweet me. Other than that, that's it for me.
Yep. As for me, I will be back tomorrow for the morning stream. I couldn't do the morning stream today, so I'm gonna just do a little extra longer one tomorrow morning. Probably streaming some stuff tomorrow night. I stream basically daily, so you're bound to see me daily doing something, whether it's playing some games with Wyrm and Tiv or doing something tabletop. Monday will be the continuation of Time Stories. I am going to be putting in some new RPG shows together. As soon as I can get artwork for them, I'm going to maybe grab a couple more players. You'll see some announcements for them. Other than that, you could check out my YouTube channel for any VODs for anything up here, the Dracovin Empire on YouTube. I also put up my scripted tabletop-related content up there, like CCG history videos, RPG guides, things like that. You can always check out my Discord, my Twitter, things like that. I do have a Patreon, which gets some great rewards if you're a follower there. There's a lot of things that you can do to support and follow the channel and follow what we do. Just a simple follow like we got some today. Subscriptions help out greatly. So thank you all for those of you who joined. We'll be back next week where we'll be talking more about the tabletop news of the week. And of course, you're bound to probably see all of us this Monday, hopefully continuing Time Stories at this channel.
Plus Tiv.
Yeah,
Yep.
plus Tiv. So that at least you'll be seeing us before next Saturday. All of us together. So anyway, thank you, and we'll see you all here next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.